Hello everybody, this is Snarist, and welcome back to the continuation of my Devil May Cry 3 hard difficulty walkthrough with no upgrades, no items, and playing on yellow mode as Dante. And when I begin this fight, I'm going to start off by equipping Ebony and Ivory, Spiral, Rebellion, and Beowulf. And I believe I equipped Quicksilver. So I mainly did this because the first fight you encounter here is going to be against a full chessboard. So it's 8 pawns, 2 rooks, 2 bishops, 2 knights, and a king and queen. By far the queen is the most dangerous piece because she goes all over the place and it's really hard to track her down. But with Quicksilver, it's much easier to follow along and just take her out because none of these pieces take all that much damage. I mean, the king takes a lot of hits, but that's pretty obvious, it's the king. The queen also does take a lot of damage as well, but with Quicksilver you can track her down a lot easier and take care of her and remove her. If you can, try to take out these pawn pieces before they get to the second to last area, because otherwise they'll sink into the ground, and when they do, they take the form of another piece, usually a knight or a rook, or sometimes a bishop. So that's the queen right there. Technically you can get the queen caught on other pieces and everything, but yeah. And you'll find as well that a lot of these pieces often freeze up until you put yourself in a vulnerable position where the AI knows you're vulnerable and will attack you. But look at that, the queen always like runs ahead and dashes and attacks. I hate the queen piece in this, it's such a stupid piece. But yeah, I'm just going to keep wailing away on it. I wait till it goes away, and if it's still unfrozen, then I'm going to use Quicksilver and then I'm going to chase it down and take it down. Because once the queen gets removed, I can start working on dealing with the other pieces, and when I deal with the other pieces, then I can move on to the king, and he's a lot easier to deal with when he's just on his own. So I keep on taunting, I take care of the other pieces while being aware of the other queen coming by me. Got my DT back, and I'm going to use that. Now careful when using a DT as Quicksilver when other pieces around the queen are frozen, because you might end up bouncing off of them. By the way, another priority you should do is take care of the rooks, because the king can swap around for the rooks. If you attack the king while it's vulnerable, it'll swap with the rook. And then the rook will freeze up and you'll have wasted your time. It's not fun, and you're trying to take care of these pieces. I don't know why these pieces aren't always available to hit straight away. It just seems ridiculous to me. I got some health back from that, which is good. This definitely is one of the longer fights of the mission, but it's almost over. By the way, when the king does that, make sure you jump away and probably use Starfall to get some distance. See, that's what I did just then, you see that? You get the enemy step off of the rook by mistake. But yeah, when the king opens its head up, make sure you jump up and dash away with you know, either Trickster if you have that, or if you're using Quicksilver like me, you don't have Trickster, so use Starfall to gain some distance. Because every other attack from every other weapon just has you like either floating in the air where you're still vulnerable to get hit, or it'll have you just sort of coming down and striking down, and you'll end up getting killed. Because that king's attack does a lot of damage. Like, one of them is enough to almost completely wipe you out. And then I got hit, unfortunately. So besides the king, there's just one other bishop piece left. Jump up and dash away, just like I showed you. And this is pretty easy to deal with now, just got to lay into him a little more. And when we come out of this fight, we'll be going on a bit of a long trek towards a portal. And there's going to be a couple of the fallen that show up. We're going to ignore them and just move on. And when it comes to the boss rush area, we're going to be making sure we've got a green orb so we can load up on health. And then we're going to go and fight Cerberus again, and we're going to use the same strategy as we did before, but this time with Swordmaster we're going to have Devil Trigger, so we're going to be able to power through a lot of his attacks, and we can even just attack through the ice rather than using time to shoot the bullets. There is technically an easy way you can exploit the Cerberus fight by staying in the far left corner and spamming Ebony and Ivory and Spiral, and you can take out 2 different heads at the same time by wearing down the ice and then getting tons of damage off. But I found that when I tried to do that, they always end up spamming the, you know, ice falling from the ceiling type of projectile, and that's the only attack that's, you know, that I'm vulnerable to. But just remember, if you've forgotten, that these different heads represent different things, the head that's on right now, he does the ground slam a lot more often and the charging forward. The head on the right, the big head, the big chunky head, the pointy ears, he does a lot of firing projectiles forward and spraying the ground with ice, whereas the head on the left, that's kind of like that's in the middle right now with the snout, he likes to do this attack here where he calls down ice from the roof. Definitely the most annoying head. If you can target one head over the other, make sure you go for that one with the green eyes. The one with the blue eyes is definitely the least problematic, but the one with the red eyes definitely is dangerous. But be careful not to get too close to them for too long, because they'll end up headbutting you and there's just no way to avoid it when you're in the air. You can't do anything unless you have Trickster, and I prefer Swordmaster so that I can stay in the air with Cerberus pounce and use the Starfall move, and if you can, target the leg as well. It's ideal to do that when they're not glowing red, because they're a lot more vulnerable to it. This attack here, recharges forward, can definitely do a lot of damage to you, but if you can keep your wits about you, and you time your dodge roll just right, you can avoid it. Or if you've got Trickster, it's pretty easy to dodge. Now that attack there with the ice, sometimes it'll be really fast, sometimes it'll be really slow. You just need to make sure you watch out for it, and it's really hard to see because it's so clear and see-through. So I'm using my DT and taking advantage of it by powering through all the attacks and everything. And so I'm using Swordmaster just to keep myself in the air. And I got caught out by mistake. I tried to get a little bit too greedy when I shouldn't have. But I've almost got my DT back, so I got one more burst through to go. So I'm not taking any chances, I'm just using Ebony and Ivory. And I'm spraying the floor. And I go in for the kill. And that's the end of Cerberus Reborn. So it's a little bit harder than the original, but we have Beowulf. And with Swordmaster and Devil Trigger attached, we can definitely make good use of it and make short work of Cerberus. And the fastest route to get through this mission is to fight Cerberus, then fight Beowulf, and then fight Agni and Rudra, or Agni and Rudra first and then Beowulf, whatever's up to you. And there's like 4 or maybe even 5 green orbs lying about the place. So I'm going to run all the way back down these stairs around the outside, and I'm going to head back to the Divinity statue because I want to change my style to Royalguard, and I'm just going to equip Cerberus in place of Beowulf, because while Beowulf definitely would be very useful against Beowulf himself, I don't want to do the run back, and for the most part Rebellion is what I'm going to be using against Beowulf anyway. Royalguard is what's going to save me, regardless of what weapons I use. So I'm going to make pretty short work of these 2 bosses compared to the last time I fought them. So it's more of the same here. If you can, try to avoid this first attack and just get into the middle of the arena so you can see a lot better. Now, while it would be helpful to have a level 3 Royalguard, I just needed to upgrade Trickster, and Swordmaster is just so useful for other things as well. That second punch he does, even if you are not confident in getting the Royalguard, sometimes jumping up to avoid it really gets the better of you because it just goes up so far. So yeah, avoid that attack, get the taunt in, get your DT up. Now what you should be doing instead of using Spiral like this is just to get aggressive, turn on Devil Trigger. And just keep in mind that when you hear that ringing sound and you hear the chain start to lower the cage down, you want to move out of the way, but you want to make sure you've got a clear wide berth, because Beowulf's attack, especially if it's from the left fist, will do a lot of damage, and you know it can still hit you on the round swing. Now when he gets into a pouncing position like that where he runs on all fours, one more cage will come up and come down on top of you. When he has a slight delay in his movement, when he's getting ready to pounce, that means he's going to jump up. So if you jump up, he's going to catch you out of the air. Otherwise, if you just roll to the side, you'll be fine. So I've managed to do so much damage to him initially, taking advantage of the exploit where you can just move around him while the cages are still falling and take him out, that I managed to skip straight to his third phase. Keep in mind that if you're too far away and he doesn't do this thing anymore, where he's smacking the cages, then he'll pull out his wings and he'll spam you with projectiles that will kill you. If you've got full health, as long as your dodging is good, maybe you won't, or if you've got Trickster, you're fine, but yeah, you just need to put, like this. So you need to get underneath him, put on Devil Trigger, and you won't be able to get hit. I don't think so, at least. So I managed to get away just in time. Remember, you can jump around him as well to avoid that. And so I get the Royalguard going. I just want to get some quick damage. When he does the triple stomp like that, you can't really avoid it. which is unfortunate. So you either just use DT or you either use DT or you jump away from him. It's only in the third phase that he does the triple stomp, so that's a good way to tell if he's going to do a triple stomp or a single stomp or not. So that's the end of Beowulf, and now we're going to make good use of Royalguard against Rudra, and we're going to have Cerberus equipped. Underneath these stairs is a green orb, so you can pick that up. We have no DT, which is a shame, but not the end of the world. Now see, I did a mistake here. I tried to do my usual, like just jumping away from him to avoid the damage, but I should have been using Royalguard right there in the air. So Rudra's uppercut attack like that can be Royalguarded. The timing is a little bit finicky, but yeah. So I'm going to get on the other side of Agni, just so I can take Rudra from off camera to pacify him. It doesn't entirely stop him from attacking you, but it can pacify him. So right now I believe I'm going to do Air Guard. Yep. And I managed to get it, and my royal release is pretty much at the max. So I just need to wait for them to drop their guard. I don't have confidence in myself to do royal release in this game, so I'm just going to wait till they're vulnerable like that, and I'm going to get some easy chip damage. But the main purpose of the Royalguard in this fight is not to keep away from him when he does that. It's not to get extra damage on these enemies against these bosses, it's to get DT, because you get tons of DT when you get the perfect Royalguard. You just saw right then I went from basically no DT to having full DT. And now that we have DT actually, it's a good way for us to power through any of their attacks to gain a higher resistance to them, and it also allows us to run faster and attack faster too. So you can see here I lost quite a bit of health just like that. Like one attack from them was enough to take off about a fifth of your health. So now I'm going to target Rudra because I do not want to fight one of them with two swords. Now that was close, because while I did get the guard on that, it also shattered. That means it wasn't a perfect guard. It's good enough that it could guard, but I still took a fraction of damage, and it took away my royal release capabilities. So I had to start from level 1 again. So now that Agni is down, I'm going to work on trying to parry Rudra and getting him knocked down, because he's the one I want to target the most. I made a mistake there, because Agni was still on screen, he was still ready to attack. And now I'm very nervous here, because this is a very long run back if I fail, and he's almost got me again. But I know that this is the time for Royalguard again. I just gotta hope I don't make a mistake like last time. Got it. Just missed it, but it didn't hit me either. So I put my DT back up and I managed to get the parry on that. I take down Agni, and that was a big risk right there. I should not have been doing that. I should have just backed off and waited for him and just kept spamming Ebony and Ivory. But I got the message eventually, and what could have been a very devastating fight to lose, I managed to win it. And in the next mission, it's pretty easy apart from the Arkham boss fight, which in my opinion is the worst designed boss fight in the entire game. And I do manage to beat it without using items and on yellow mode and everything, so I show you guys how to do it. And if you're even just having trouble fighting him normally, it's a great way to demonstrate just how you can take advantage of him as well. But I'll show you more about that when we get to it. You'll take care now. I'll see you in mission 19.